President Biden just signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law, and it is the discount version of the Build Back Better Act, which pretty much died after Senator Manchin went against that bill last year. And if the Build Back Better Act got passed last year, people on the FIRE journey would have lost the ability to do the backdoor Roth IRA and mega backdoor Roth. And Democrats in Congress wanted to put a cap on the Roth IRA to $20 million, but let's be honest, most people wouldn't have that much in the Roth IRA anyway. What concerned me the most was Congress taking away our ability to make the backdoor Roth IRA conversions. The Inflation Reduction Act is an interesting one because not a single Republican voted in favor of this bill. And it wasn't until recently that Senator Manchin got on board and voted in favor of the bill. Thankfully, the Inflation Reduction Act did not eliminate Roth conversions in IRAs and the mega backdoor Roth. If your income is above $144,000 a year as a single or above $214,000 a year as a couple, the government will still allow you to continue to do the backdoor Roth IRA conversions. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm predicting our taxes to go up in the future. This is why I love Roth investments. Congress will always do what Congress does, and I'm gonna have to adapt to the new laws just like everybody else to achieve my financial independence and retire early. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Sai and welcome. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about how the Inflation Reduction Act can affect your financial independence journey. There are a lot of arguments on whether this bill will reduce inflation. The Republicans didn't think so, and that's why this bill was so one-sided, and time will tell if this actually reduces inflation. By the way, you can get our free financial independence resources by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. You can also check out the Fireside Chat shop if you're looking to start your own YouTube channel, and I have all of my equipment at firesidechat.com/shopping. I am more concerned about reducing deficits because the government is spending far more than what they make in revenue. And it's almost like spending $3,000 a month on your budget, but you only make $2,000 a month. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, the Inflation Reduction Act is supposed to increase the government's annual revenue and reduce deficits by $305 billion through 2031. According to the latest deficit tracker published by the Bipartisan Policy Center, the federal government ran a deficit of $212 billion just in the month of July 2022. Over the first 10 months of the fiscal year 2022, our government ran a deficit of $727 billion. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates that the Inflation Reduction Act will reduce the federal deficit by $1.9 trillion over 2 decades. So anytime there is a budget deficit, it means that the government will get into more debt to spend money. For each day the federal government spends more money than what they actually make in revenue, it adds to the federal debt. When the country shut down because of the pandemic in March 2020, the federal government borrowed money at a very low interest rate to give out stimulus checks and other benefits. Now, they also spend a lot of money on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid every year. Those are not going away because most of those recipients are also voters, and Congress isn't stupid enough to get rid of those entitlements and lose their seats. So is the Inflation Reduction Act going to reduce the federal deficit by $1.9 trillion over the next 2 decades? Not if they continue to overspend and borrow money for the next 2 decades. The amount of debt the government already has now is just insane. On the other hand, the topic of canceling student loan debt has been a discussion for quite some time. According to Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, which is a nonprofit organization, if Congress decides to cancel even $10,000 per person of student debt, they estimate that it could add up to 15 basis points to the personal consumption expenditure, or PCE inflation rate. And it could create additional inflationary pressure over time. And it states that either extending the pause or forgiving the loans or both would undermine the benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act. And let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on the student loan forgiveness. At some point, Congress or somebody will have to address the national debt and the current spending. If you're my client and your monthly income is $5,000 a month, but you want to spend $6,000 a month, I would tell you that you need to either raise your income or reduce your spending. Raising your income means raising taxes to tackle the budget deficit, right? But if Congress says they're going to raise taxes on people, that's probably not popular with most Americans. Reducing their spending could be removing some entitlements or benefits like Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. And people are not going to be happy with that either. But why does any of this matter to the people on the FIRE journey? Social Security, for example, there's already a decreasing number of workers over the years due to the declining birth rate since the baby boomer era from 1946 to 1964. There will be more retirees than workers in the next 20 years and beyond. In my personal opinion, people working on FIRE need to get out of the mindset of having any entitlements in the future. And I just don't see how their spending is sustainable in the future. And when I say they, that's the government. The rising national debt is a concern for everyone because the risk of a country defaulting on its debt increases, right? These deficits are accumulating every fiscal year, and I just don't see how reducing $1.9 trillion in deficit over the next 2 decades make any dent in the projected deficits to $40 trillion by the fiscal year 2032. Something has to happen, and that's to either raise the government revenue or reduce the spending. By the way, if you've been overspending your money like Congress and you need assistance with your budget and savings, you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firesidechat.com/coaching. Now, let me show you the key changes to the Inflation Reduction Act and how they can possibly benefit you personally. Corporations with at least $1 billion in income will have a new tax rate of 15%. Congress is projecting over $300 billion in revenue from the corporate minimum tax. Corporations will also get taxed 1% for every stock buyback, which will take effect in 2023. Congress is projecting to gain additional $74 billion in revenue. Congress is investing $80 billion in the IRS for the next 10 years, so that's $8 billion a year. And they're projecting to gain $120 billion a year in net revenue, and I'm not sure how they came up with that number. This bill is also allowing Medicare to negotiate over 100 drugs in the next decade to reduce prices on prescriptions. Medicare beneficiaries will also have a cap on their out-of-pocket costs for prescription drugs at $2,000 a year. It guarantees Medicare beneficiaries to pay no more than $35 a month out of pocket for insulin. And about a quarter of Medicare beneficiaries have diabetes, so this is very good news. And $369 billion of the bill went to climate and clean energy spending. Any electrical vehicles assembled in the US will be eligible for a $7,500 federal tax credit, and you actually don't have to wait until you file your taxes or tax return to get that money back. Here are some caveats though to getting the tax credit. Your income cannot exceed $150,000 as a single person, $225,000 as a head of household, or $300,000 as a married couple. SUVs and trucks MSRPs have to be under $80,000, and sedans need to be below $55,000. The Inflation Reduction Act also removed the $200,000 sales cap starting on January 1st, 2023, so companies like Toyota, GM, and Tesla will become eligible for the tax credit. So if you're looking to buy a new EV, I would probably wait until January 1st to get the $7,500 tax credit if you're looking to buy a Toyota, GM, or Tesla. And if you want to know more about how to invest for your financial independence, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.